we've really been prioritizing innovation in everything that we do, even in our offerings as an agency. The one thing that you can do in this time when AI is kind of stepping up is by having those conversations, separating yourself. And I think the people who succeed are the ones who use it to enhance their ability to do this, to have these conversations. The ones who are trying to get away from conversation and use the system to dodge it will be the ones that my older brother and his best friend, I got into the staffing industry first, and I was able to kind of watch them dive in head first and take it, with from a green perspective.
Welcome to The Growth Switch, the podcast where we dive into the strategies, struggles, and breakthroughs of bold business leaders. I'm your host, Jules Fox, growth strategist and lead content creator at Aries Media. I am here to uncover how today's top brands are scaling, overcoming challenges, and unlocking sustainable success. Now, for those of you just tuning in, Aries Media helps grow successful brands like yours with comprehensive hands-on support for sales, business development, and performance marketing. Go ahead and drop growth into the comments if you want to learn how to do that. Today on The Growth Switch, we're actually joined by special guest Zachary Smith. He's an executive search consultant for Consultus. He's a staffing and recruiting specialist, a former Uber sourcer, and an industry truth teller. He's on a mission to fix what's broken in recruitment by bringing the humanity back to hiring. Zachary, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. So, you've worked across a number of different facets of recruiting. What was your origins? What got you to where you are now?
That's a great question. My older brother and his best friend, I got into the staffing industry first, and I was able to kind of watch them dive in head first and take it, with from a green perspective and really embrace it and all of its challenges. And I got to hear them talk about it as they were growing through it while I was doing my own thing, working through school and managing Starbucks stores and kind of hanging out in a different world. And one day, my older brother's best friend came to me and he said that there was an opportunity at their firm and they were looking to kind of bring in somebody who was excited and looking to grow and motivated to create something in their career. And so I was thankful that he thought of me. And once I started talking to the people at Consultus, it was a perfect fit. I'm a people person. I just like to be able to connect with people and talk to them, learn their story. And so from that point on, it was all systems go. I hit the ground running, kind of sourcing for top talent in the IT world, and then transitioned more into a really full-time recruiting on my own before stepping onto the operations side of the business, where I was able to train some staff and lead a couple of team members that way and also help make some cool business decisions. And now I'm back in a hands-on role as Consultus has kind of pivoted into staffing for the staffing industry. So,
yeah, that's very meta, staffing for the staffing industry.
Yeah.
We've gotten so niche, we've gotten so granular these days with what we do, because wherever there's a problem, it always presents a unique business opportunity. Anywhere a company's experiencing a challenge, that could be a really potentially great business opportunity. So walk me through, what does that mean, staffing for staffing?
Well, yeah, right now, the staffing industry itself, there's a lot of ups and downs. And so being firmly in it, right, I think is the only way to truly feel it and know everything that's been going on. And so having your pulse on where the industry is at and knowing what direction it's going into at the right time and where the roller coaster is really important. And so now we're helping other staffing firms really focus on their business development goals, figure out what they're trying to do, and getting this thing back on track for the most part as an industry. Mm-hmm. And helping them align that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the recruitment process itself, maybe it used to work one particular way for a very long time, but now in a sense, it's a bit broken. So how do you think it broke, and what's the solution for fixing that?
What's the solution? Man, I wish there was like one golden line I could give you that works. I think there's no more trust in the process, kind of all around, which really makes it tough. Candidates, they see job postings out there and sometimes it's just to collect people's resumes. They're not even real postings, but even beyond that, there's a lot of distrust on what the posting is, what the salary is, what the client's really looking for. Clients are wary of candidates' backgrounds and then even from another side, recruiters are sending people's candidates' resumes out to clients without having conversations with them. And so people are really trying to just cut corners to get ahead, instead of putting what comes first in this business, which is relationships and trust, especially as we continue to see a large rise in like AI. And you go on LinkedIn nowadays and it feels like everybody's had the same English teachers their entire lives. They're talking the same way. It's the same punctuation. It's the same voice and tone behind the text. And so I think to fix it, we have to get back to taking it on from a real human perspective. And who are the people behind the screens, having conversations like this?
So you talk about cutting corners. And it's one thing to try to get ahead, but I also feel like that's actually a violation of trust, to take somebody's resume and apply them as a candidate. That almost, not that there's a rules code or a guide or something like that, but I feel like that is actually next level violation of trust. And I wouldn't want to work with a recruiting company who's doing something.
Exactly. And that becomes the ethos of the industry and what people know it as. And that's not what it is. We are here to help, on both sides. We're here to partner with companies who are trying to figure out what their goals are in those projects and help them achieve them by putting the right people in those seats and make a positive impact on their lives too. And it's just become about the bottom dollar, which is tough. It's tough to see, but there is so many good people in this industry who are fighting the good fight and trying to make sure that everyone is being seen as they need to be seen.
When it comes to using AI responsibly, how is the Consultus Search Group using AI and automation tools for the better?
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff we're trying to keep ourselves. There's some tools with the AI where, if you're sending out a sequence of emails where you can, have it automatically send the next step from a pretty basic level, just like email marketing, some of those things. But we're using AI to help make better job descriptions, to focus on not spending as much time doing some of the admin tasks. And so we can really get back to just talking to people. We use it to parse out our resumes to help make summaries of candidates from the notes that we've put into the system. Being able to just have a conversation and not have I always have a pen and paper nearby all the time. I'm a paper person, but having someone listen to the conversation and process it and come back to those notes and being able to be locked in, even in itself, is a huge game changer that I think is changing the way that we're having conversations. So really, we're just trying to use it to free up our time as best as possible and help us manage our time to keep talking to the people who are out on the market and the clients who are needing roles.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, using those tools responsibly to add to what you're already doing versus replace what you're already doing.
Right. Yeah.
So
Once you get into replacing what you're doing, you become the same as everybody else, which is so funny in recruiting to me because yes, it is a saturated market of recruiters. There are a lot of agencies and a lot of people who are kind of doing the same thing. And when a company gets a role that they want to work on, they can blast it out to 20, 25 agencies and have everybody working on it at one time. So a similar message comes out and hits your inbox and you sound the same as everybody else. If everyone's trying to get on the same ATS system and send the same message and they're doing the same thing, you can't differentiate yourself. And so,
yeah.
it's just funny.
So, we're seeing a lot in terms of innovation. The old way simply does not work anymore. And I know that the Consultus Group, you guys are really key on innovation. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's from the top down. We've really been prioritizing innovation in everything that we do, even in our offerings as an agency. I mean, companies hiring it's been slow, and people are looking to these larger enterprises on when they start hiring again, and so they can make their copycat moves off of that, so to speak. But it can be expensive. That's the truth of it. And making the right hire is making the wrong hire can be even more expensive. You know what I mean? So going through an agency, there's a lot of hesitation there. So something that we've done to try to bridge that gap a little bit is introducing our new CSG talent screen, where if you've, as a company, identified 5 or 6 candidates who you think could be good for the role, you've garnered a bunch of applications that you can engage our firm and we'll interview those. We'll do those first round interviews for you. We'll scale them and test them, to your criteria, and we'll give you our ranking systems on after our conversation why we feel who's the best fit for the role. So we're just trying to stay creative and, do what we can to be the best partner for our clients at the end of the day.
Yeah, that sounds like an incredibly powerful tool.
Yeah, it is. It's exciting.
And is there a cost to it, or is this something that you can offer to be of service, to be of value, to bring people into your fold?
No, there is a cost to it, but the cost is it's much lesser than if you were going to be having us source, recruit, find the person, guide them through the process. And so it's a much more accessible option that a lot of agencies haven't offered to this point.
We talked about cutting corners and stuff like that, But sometimes we can build up mistrust between candidates, between recruiters, between the clients themselves. You have many people involved in this web. So how do you guys focus on building trust in a sustainable way?
Yeah, well, first, a lot of the candidates who I reach out to proactively to start conversations with, I don't reach out to with a role in mind. I know what sandboxes that we like to play in.
Mhm.
And so I'm trying to just learn more about who they are and what their motivations are, where they've been, so you can know where they're going. And also in turn sharing who I am and being vulnerable and authentic. I think when you lead from that place, trust comes as a byproduct of that. And it's something that grows over time and is earned. And so showing up and being authentic, and checking in on people and caring about people,
Mhm.
that's where this goes away. Today, a role goes off the board, and candidates who are in the mix sometimes don't even hear back from the recruiters of the company that they're not in the process anymore. And so making sure that you are closing the loop and you are treating people with the respect that they deserve. We grow up with our phones in our hands. This new generation, you go on social media, you go on these dating apps, whatever it is, you can ghost somebody and have it not be an issue. And I think we're starting to really see that parlay into business. And it's going to be a challenge for the industry to overcome, especially over these next couple of years as these AI tools are coming out, because I think the people who succeed are the ones who use it to enhance their ability to do this, to have these conversations. The ones who are trying to get away from conversation and use the system to dodge it will be the ones that end up worse off in the long run.
Yeah, and it does feel like a form of ghosting. Like ghosting is actually getting ignored. But if you are not showing up as a human and you're trying to have AI replace you during the interview process, I was recently looking at some of those posts about how some places like Google are running fully automated interview processes. Where it's just an AI is interviewing your candidate. And I can't imagine. To me, that feels like pre-ghosting.
Right.
We are going to have a nobody show up to speak with you. You
Yeah.
know.
I mean, that makes you fall into a keyword search. And we are so much more than keywords. This is a people industry. It's a people world.
Yeah, or lead to mishires as well. If you are a keyword, if you're a walking, talking keyword and you've learned to make yourself look great on paper, you might be incredibly hireable, but a bad employee.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
So some people, this is not necessarily just a young person's game because we do have senior leaders who feel phased out of today's market. But, what would you tell them about staying relevant and regaining their confidence as we do move into this next era?
Yeah, this is one that really hits home with me just because a lot of the conversations I've been having over the last few months are with senior leaders in the industry who are stuck right now in between searching for their next home or at a place in their career where they're not really ready to hang it up yet, but they're also not looking to stick around for 20 years, which really ends up isolating them, especially like I was saying, everyone grew up with a phone in their hand. And it's just a different generation. And so I think the separator, the difference, right, is that they have these conversations and they are the ones who have been doing it and have been willing to do it and have been lighting the way. And so, yeah, I think that the one thing that you can do in this time when AI is kind of stepping up is by having those conversations, separating yourself. And there's a wealth of experience there that companies are going to be able to benefit from. It's just about getting them to open their eyes and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, who is your best fit? You focus on really good best fits for all these, helping staffing agencies with staffing.
Mm-hmm.
But, from a consultant's perspective, who is your best fit as a client? Who are you striving to work with?
Yeah, small to mid-sized staffing firms that are looking to help scale, where we can really kind of come in. Consultus Search Group. We are we're a tight knit family run firm, and I think that culture is something that we end up getting right pretty often, and something that we're proud of. And so, being able to know, like I was saying, with these candidates, applying the same approach to them, understanding where they are and where they're trying to go.
Mhm.
Especially, my boss, Jamie. The Delsing family has been in the staffing world for generations now. This is the fourth generation iteration of staffing for them. And so being able to lean on that expertise also and say, this is what they did, this is what we had seen, and what to do and not to do, and really trying to just again lead with that, putting that best foot forward and help them grow as best as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So what's the connection point? In other words, oftentimes in marketing, we want to meet the person where they are. How do you find them, or how do they find you?
Yeah, you can find us at our website. The most blanket across the board way to get to us is www.consultussearch.com. But we're also extremely active on LinkedIn and down here in the South Florida community. All these events that, local job fairs, having conversations with people who are looking to kind of break their way into recruiting. Um, we're accessible, but I guess, LinkedIn's probably the best way where I would say you could find us, and where we spend most of our time.
Yeah, for sure. And for all of the viewers, for all the listeners, that's going to be in the show notes, in the podcast notes. You'll see all those links there. So, okay, big question. A lot of times we kind of know, we have an inkling of how we're going to grow. But if you were to aid in the growth of, Consultus over the next few years, say you wanted to 10x the company growth over the next 3 years, big task. What's the major roadblock that you're seeing? What's the big thing that you could break through to just see extreme growth?
Great question, and that's what I'm doing, right? So yeah, where's my focus at? The big roadblock is relationships. The people who are winning in the industry right now are the people who have relationships in place. And so it's not about beating somebody right now to the punch. This is a long-term game. You have to show them that you're going to be consistent and responsible and reliable and a partner in this process, and somebody they can trust. Continuing to show up, connecting with the top 5% of the talent in the market that we would want to work with, finding 20 to 25 of those people each month, and then with their permission and through conversation, sending their information out to 50 hiring managers who are in the area that we're going after, and then repeating that process every single month. Mm-hmm. That's the the best way, I guess, of how I would go from a business development standpoint, starting a staffing firm and trying to pivot and launch something where I would begin. But the roadblock is relationships, and so talk to people, pick up the phone, start putting your face out there. One of the biggest challenges for me right now that I'm working through is how to build a personal brand on LinkedIn. It's something we talk about here a lot internally, and so just doing more video content and seeing that we are the people that we say we are, and showing up to be that version of ourselves every day and proving it. I think everything else, like I said, trust, the relationships, the business, that falls into place as a byproduct.
Yeah. And I think that's really important. I think that's a really solid idea. It's interesting because, I've been in marketing for many, many years, and we made a change. People were sick of being spammed. Marketing became invisible, and it moved from just marketing to permission-based marketing. And it sounds like your concept is permission-based recruiting, which is unfortunately, but maybe something that's really needed in the world right now.
Yeah. People need advocates. They're getting lost in these piles of applications. The one way to get yourself to the top of the pile is to find a way to step out of it. And so that's what recruiters are here for. And yeah, I would encourage anybody who's actively job seeking, or people who are passively looking for their next thing, seeing the writing on the wall, whatever the ticker may be. Maybe it's just been a while since you gauged the pulse of the market, but to reach out to a recruiter, follow up with one of the people who's in your inbox that has been posting and feels genuine. And I think you can trust after those interactions. You can kind of really feel out who the good ones are and who the people are that are going to help you. And if you can't, you can always reach out to me. And if it's not me who can help you, I'll find the person who will.
Absolutely. Being genuine, being a connector in this industry.
Exactly.
Zachary, thank you so much for your time and expertise. I really appreciate having you on the podcast.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Jules. This was a pleasure.